a new documentary has told the shocking, true story of parents and teachers at a British school who were wrongly accused of being part of a satanic paedophile cult.
The parents were subsequently stalked, threatened and abused by conspiracy theorists who believed the false allegations after the lies had been posted online. I mean, we both watched the documentary, didn't we, last night? And we've talked and talked about it. It's almost unbelievable. One of the mums who is using the fake name Anna is here today alongside criminologist David Wilson. Good morning, Anna.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. OK, so let's go back to 9 years ago. What happened on that day?
It was Thursday, the 5th of February 2015. My husband and I were working from home that day, and around about 4 p.m, an email arrived into our inbox from the school stating that there had been some allegations made about the school, but that had been investigated by the police, nothing else to report, and that the case was closed. So, of course, that kind of posed more questions than it answered, and naturally it was like, well, what allegations? So I went onto Google. I very quickly found the nature of the allegations, and unfortunately for me, within about the next 5 minutes, I became aware that I realised that it was connected to 2 children in the school, one of whom had been in my daughter's class, and I found very quickly 3 videos that existed online at that time. Unfortunately, that video that I found was of the daughter in question making a series of allegations, naming my daughter as also having been a child at the school that was being abused, sexually abused for sweets. And the person that was interviewing her in the video said, "And who is it that's doing this to her?" And then she named myself and my husband. So within 5 minutes of receiving the email from school, I'd gone online, found the allegations, and then, to my horror...
And your daughter at this stage was just 9?
She was 9, yes.
There is a huge difference from an email coming from school saying there's been an accusation, police investigate, it's nothing, to then suddenly seeing what those allegations were. I mean, I can't begin to imagine how you felt watching this child that you knew that was in your daughter's class, firstly saying what they were saying, but then accusing you and your husband and your daughter of being in a similar situation.
Yes. I mean, it was just one of those life-changing, heart-stopping moments. I mean, the complete shock. And I do remember later that night, as I said in the documentary, sitting on the floor of my bedroom and saying to my husband, "We've been accused of being paedophiles, and this just isn't going to go away." You know, all of that, your life runs before your eyes, and you know that, there are groups of people that are going to believe this, that there's no smoke without fire, that there are groups of people who, like to hunt and trap paedophiles. And, I knew right then that our lives were going to change.
So the police knew of these allegations and they'd contacted you and said, look, we need to come over and interview your daughter. So you had to tell your daughter at the time about what had been said by her classmate.
I did. After I received the email from the school, I phoned the school. I spoke to the headmistress and she said, "I've been advised to tell you to contact the police." So I literally called the police and said, "I don't quite know how to explain this, but I've been accused of being a satanic paedophile and my daughter is alleged to have been one of the abuse victims." And the police operator put me on hold and then came back and said, "OK, well, the police are on their way to your house." And I said, "But my daughter's here and she doesn't know anything about this." And they said, "Well, you've got half an hour to tell her." And I sat her down in the kitchen with my husband and said that one of her school friends had made some allegations, and she burst into tears and said, "Why is she saying these things about me?" And I said, "I don't know, but the police want to speak to us." So our family weren't afforded the luxury to separate her from that knowledge. The police came to the house and they wanted to speak to all of us together. So I wasn't able to sort of separate her from the nature of what was going on. Yeah, to protect her from it.
And in the end, the police didn't really do anything about it. There was a list that was published with names, addresses, photographs, terrible statements, just awful. I can't even imagine what that was like for you and the other mums. So there was a group of you that got together and decided we need to almost infiltrate this system to know what's going on here.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves. I mean, the initial police officers, didn't know what to do with this case. It was online and the legislation, it did exist, but they were having trouble sort of dealing with it and admitted they didn't quite know how to do so. And after a number of years, there were some unsuccessful prosecutions that collapsed, and other parents had been involved originally, but then felt that they'd lost confidence in the police. And there were a small group of us that were still left, I guess, that felt that this was just so wrong and we couldn't let it drop. And, you know, we went forward and we did a victims' rights review, and we did manage to get sort of police officers and eventually the CPS, you know, to back us. But we all dealt with things in different ways. And yes, there was, you know, one of the mums ended up sort of being down the rabbit hole, if so to speak.
You get that from the documentary a lot.
Absolutely. And in fact, you know, I'd had a conversation in the early days with a takedown company that is they're expert in removing sort of things from the internet. And they had said to me at the very beginning, you know, it's like whack-a-mole. You can try and take one thing down and then it will pop back up on the internet somewhere else. But they did say, even to myself, the way to really deal with it is to get amongst them. And that was kind of the avenue that Alice took.
Yeah.
You know, we all dealt with it in different ways, but that was her avenue. And actually, we discovered that there was, you know, we'd had so many people against us on the internet, but there was also out there a group of people, you know, a number of people that felt that it was really wrong, as we did, that children's addresses and names were across the internet. So they came on board, and it was a great comfort to know that for as many people that there were attacking us online, there was also people supporting us. And Alice embedded herself in with them. And
And did you ever get any sense of why this had started? What on earth drove the parents of the children, or it was the mother, wasn't it, with her boyfriend, of the children, to make those accusations, and then for this other woman, Sabine McNeil, to actually get so involved and so keen to sort of expose what she thought was going on in Hampstead?
Yeah, she wasn't even a trained lawyer.
I think, you know, they're multi-million-dollar questions, really, as to why they did what they did. All I can say is that Abraham Christie had a prior history of doing something very similar to his own family. So this was, you know, not new for him. Ella, I think when her children got taken into care, perhaps she felt that parents and the people on the list of the accused had been complicit in raising concerns, and that was why her children had been taken from her, and that in some way we were all responsible.
Yes.
I think in making the allegations that she did, perhaps she thought that all of our children would also be taken into care in the same way that hers had.
Terrible. David, we're going to come to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all fake. It was proven not true. And yet these conspiracy theories just get completely out of control on the internet. They're so dangerous, aren't they?
They absolutely are. And the first thing to say, though, Kat and Ben, is how brave of Anna to come in and again share her story with us. The internet did not invent conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories have been with us for centuries. But what the internet has done is make those conspiracy theories stickier. In other words, the internet acts as an echo chamber. People go onto the internet and they find like-minded people who believe like-minded things. And what that tends to do is therefore normalize what is patently absurd. It simply, therefore, escalates their beliefs that what they're saying, what they're theorizing about, is actually true. So that's part of the context for this. But I think the other thing to say, and you were asking, and Anna was talking about motivation there. Remember, there are three main reasons why people begin to believe conspiracy theories. And I know the first two of these words sound a bit academic, but they're easily explained. So the three things would be epistemic, existential, and social. Epistemic simply means that when something dreadful, traumatic happens, people want to find out why. Why has this happened? And what they're looking for is certainty. And so they go onto the internet and they look for certainty. And so often conspiracy theories are certain, whereas knowledge is often hedged by, you know, perhaps, maybe, in most cases. The existential thing, and then we're moving into why I think was what was motivating some of these people. Existentially, people want to feel safe and secure in their world. And then finally, social. People want to feel good about themselves. So they want to feel good about what they're thinking, and therefore they want to identify with a group who thinks similarly. And as a consequence, that means that they end up believing things which are patently untrue.
Yes.
It doesn't make it easier for
It
you,
doesn't.
Anna, to hear that. But how is your daughter, because they're over 18 now, and the
18.
other kids, and how are you day to day now?
They're all good, thank you. I mean, yes, you're correct. All of the children are 18, 19. They're all moving on with their lives. They're all doing well.
Good.
They're well adjusted.
Good.
They're all, as they should be, moving on with college and university. And
And how about you?
yes, you know, I think this will always be the fabric of our lives, unfortunately. You know, the chat has sort of lessened over the years, but it's still there.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we've all learnt to sort of live with it, and I think we've chosen now to sort of tell our story. We're very keen, you know, there's been a growing narrative over the recent years about the harm of social media.
Yeah.
And whether it's, and we don't place ourselves in the same category at all, but whether it's Molly Russell's father or Brianna Jai's, you know, family.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, that social media has to begin to take responsibility for the material it's hosting. And what was so shocking for us is that, you know, we found it so hard to be able to take down those details. Social media would say to us, this does not breach our community standards, even though, you know, there were real children whose names and addresses were on the internet. So
Extraordinary.
you know.
Well, as David said, your bravery coming in and sharing the story is what we can absolutely commend, and it's a big warning to lots of
helps
parents
other
watching.
people. Yeah,
And the
thank you.
documentary is on. You can catch up on Channel 4. It really is an extraordinary watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks,
And
Anna.
thank you, David, as well.
Thank you, David. We're about to meet a whole team of sporting heroes.
England's current amputee football team are the most successful squad in 30 years. It's a unique sport that gives players who've already tackled their fair share of challenges the chance to play the beautiful game again. But to do that in Europe this year, and for the chance to lift the trophy for England, they need our help.
Yeah, so I think it's about time for a kick-off. Shall we meet them? Here we go.
In comes the team.
Yes.
Joining us, we've got Jamie.
Martin.
We've got Reese.
Liam.
There's TJ.
Thomas. Scott.
Scott, the head coach.
Yeah. Connor.
Connor's there. Come on in, boys. Come on in.
Sean.
We've got Sean, we've got Soifan, Jamie. Is that everybody? We all here?
Hello there. Good morning, fellas.
Morning, all.
How
Morning,
are
all.
you?
Thank
How
you
you
for
doing,
coming in.
Scott?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Very, very good indeed. Now, tell me about how these guys all got involved with playing.
Well, it's we have a brilliant league system, so they all play for the clubs.
Yeah.
And what we do is we go out as a kind of an England selection group and we select a squad to go and represent the country at major tournaments.
Because it's a real lifeline for people, isn't it?
Just looking at the football as well, by the way, Kat, this is just... If anybody had some preconceived idea that if you guys were playing football with crutches or with some sort of limb difference, it would be slow. It's the absolute opposite. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's a brutal game, really. I think people who haven't seen amputee football before might think it's a little bit slow, going through the motions a little bit, but in actual fact, it's a very, very fast game, and it's a brutal game, so we have snap crutches regularly.
Oh, you must get through them at a rate of knots, no?
Definitely. Everyone jokes about me because one of mine's really bent. Like,
Hold that up for us. So this is Liam's. Can you see the bend in that? Can you see? I mean, I'm not sure they were designed to bend like this.
No.
What happened there, Liam?
Probably just someone's
Bit
tackled
rough.
me and it's bent, but I've just got used to it now, so...
Was that during an international fixture or a domestic fixture?
Yeah, it's just happened over a long time, loads of fixtures.
OK. It wasn't a particularly gnarly tackle with a Frenchman or something like that. That would have been acceptable.
Exactly. And Liam, how did you get involved with the team?
So I found out about amputee football through social media. It was actually our friend Jamie Oakey who sent me a message. I didn't know nothing about the sport, didn't know nothing about amputee football, and then he sent me a message and said, why don't you come and try amputee football with us? And I did, and just not look back sort of thing.
And what happened to you? How did you have
I was in a road traffic accident when I was 20 years old, and unfortunately they just couldn't save my leg because it was so badly damaged. But like I said, opportunities like this, you know, I wouldn't have got before, so...
It must be amazing, actually, to find a team like this. It must be a real lifeline for you.
Yeah, definitely, and I think as much as we all love playing football and stuff, you know, it's very rare that we have all these deep conversations about, like, how are you feeling, how did you lose your leg, but there's just something really special about being around other amputees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
TJ, talk us through what happened to you, because you actually, before you lost your leg, you had trials at Southampton, you were sort of a budding young footballer potentially looking to play professionally.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks before I lost my leg, I had trials with both Portsmouth and Southampton. Then went to the local fairground with my mates, and then everything just changed that day. They tried saving my leg for about 10 days after the accident.
What happened?
So the safety bar on the roller coaster didn't come down on me. So I went round the ride once, and then I went round. As the ride stopped, I got out thinking that's the best option for me. But as I got out, the woodwork snapped. So I fell through the woodwork, and then the roller coaster went. My reaction was, I need to grab the ride. But I just didn't let go of the ride and just went round, hit every single pole. My kneecap was in like 3,000 pieces, snapped my femur. So done a good job on it.
You really did.
Wow.
But I had the doctors telling me they can save it. I can be back playing football again in like a year's time. And then I was like, I don't think that's true.
Right.
So about 15, I decided to have it amputated in the hospital, and I've not looked back.
So, and actually, that's given you the lease of life. And similarly to Liam, I'd imagine, finding amputee football and finding this team and the opportunity to keep playing has been an extraordinary thing for you to be able to explore and enjoy.
Exactly. So when I lost my leg, like, amputee football wasn't very publicised or pushed very well. So I didn't know about it for about 8-9 years after losing my leg. And then an old player from England who plays for Portsmouth set up the team.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll go along and give it a try. And then after my first session, it was like, this is what I want to do. And just put everything into it, and now here living that dream, playing for England.
You get a little piece of yourself back as well, I think, then.
Being able to play competitive sport, which we all thrive in.
I think it's really important sport, you know, like, I think it gives you something to focus on. And I was similar to TJ. I spent many years as an amputee not knowing about this sport, and, you know, I found myself in difficult situations.
Feeling a bit lost,
yeah,
too,
yeah.
right?
And then since I found football, it's like literally changed my life. I mean, we don't get paid like professional athletes, but it's literally changed my life, this sport.
It's brilliant.
So great to hear. So you're the outfield player. Thomas, you're the keeper.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So there is, but the irony being
so
that,
mischievous.
but the keeper you can't play in goal if you've got two hands or two arms. Is that the thing?
Yeah. So everyone else is like a lower leg deficiency, as they've all lost their legs, and I lost my arm. Well, I lost both, to be fair, but I was just born with it, so I didn't go through like all the trauma of like an accident or something like that, which I was quite lucky, I think. But yeah, so I'm an arm amputee, so arm amputees play in net. So it just obviously just use one hand. Normally keepers have both gloves on.
Yeah.
I've only got one glove on, so it kind of levels the playing field.
Do you get them half price? Can you speak?
No, I don't quite get them half price, but I mean, the deal's a deal, the way it is.
But actually, they always go for this side, don't they, when they're trying to score?
The smart strikers will say, like, you know what, just put the ball to the side, doesn't have an arm, and that'll be the smart way about things. But I think it's got to a point where you learn that, and I think you've got to really, like, overcome it and, like, adapt through it, like, through training, and you've got to, like, go that side. And I think strikers now know that I can get to both sides anyway.
I think if you look at professional goalkeepers as well, and I've played enough of these big games with some of those, like Dave Seaman always says, you learn to turn and use the opposite hand sometimes. Well, it's instinct, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Through training and stuff like that, I mean, it's become something that I'm very much used to. I mean, I'm more than happy for a ball to go that side, and I'll hopefully get after that.
Yeah, too.
But yeah, I mean, strikers are definitely good at aim for that side, but I think it's a bit of a mindset.
Still can't get past.
You've got to know about that, yeah.
Scott, look at this trophy, this extraordinary trophy. Yep. So this is a trophy that you guys won recently. Tell us what it is.
So we went and played in the first ever Nations League competition back in June. We played against Turkey, who haven't been beat since 2014, and are world and European champions. We played Spain, who knocked us out of the European Championships, and we played Poland, who have professional leagues. They're incredible, lots and lots of funding. We beat all three to bring the trophy home. So it's our first major trophy in 34 years.
So basically, if we can get you guys to the Euros, you stand a really good chance. Right? And you're taking it seriously. You've got, like, nutritionists and physios. Like, you're on it.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, everybody here has got jobs or they're in full-time education.
Yeah.
But the expectation and demand is exactly the same as Serena Wiegman or Gareth Southgate's squads, where they've got nutritionalists, they've all got bespoke plans, we've got strength and conditioning coaches, doctors, but every single person that works for the England Amputee Football Association is a volunteer.
Brilliant.
So how much do you need to get to the Euros?
So, yeah, we find ourselves in a difficult situation because we're seeded #1 for that tournament. There's a real good chance of us winning.
You've got to get there. You've got to get there.
We need £30,000 to get us to the tournament, but the pitch is bigger than that. We're looking for somebody to come in and fall in love with amputee football like we all have and really start to go on the journey with us and take us to the next level, really.
And you've got a GoFundMe page, right?
We launched the GoFundMe page about a month ago. We're up to about £9,000 now, but our magic number is 30. But like I say, that's to get us to the tournament.
Yes.
There's a bigger picture there as well.
And it's a huge launch pad as well, though, Thomas. You might not have had the trauma that some of these boys have had in facing what you have, but the difference that it makes for you as somebody who has a limb difference to play in a team. Just explain a little bit about that and why that's important for young boys and girls that look at you guys as well.
Yeah. I think it's definitely the sense of, like, your pride, representing your country at the end of the day. I think when I was growing up, I didn't really understand, like, through my, like, I wouldn't be able to play, like, mainstream football and stuff like that. But it's the fact that I'm now representing England at World Cups and major tournaments, and I mean, it's a sense of pride knowing the fact that there's many people in, like, worse situations than us guys that haven't quite achieved what we have. Which is one thing we can be really proud of, the fact that there's obviously stuff that should hold us back, like class as a disability, but we've went away and achieved some really good things. So
absolutely, something that the senior team would kill for. To lift the trophy. So we're all desperately hoping they're going to do. And Liam, you've got a son as well now. You've got children. What's it like being able to represent? I mean, I've been lucky enough in representative games in a charity match to wear an England shirt, and there's nothing like that feeling, but you actually play for England.
Yeah, well, my son Liam Jr. is only 9, and he looks at some of these lads as most kids look at, like, Ronaldo and Messi, do you know what I mean? And Thomas is actually his favourite player, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, but, like, all the lads are amazing with my kids, and, like, when they turn up, we're in the car on the way to football, and Liam Jr.'s like, is Jacko going to be there? Is Reece going to be there? And then when we get there, he's just silent and doesn't say anything.
Oh, just starstruck. Yeah. And you've been recognised on holiday, havenn't you?
Me?
Yeah, were you recognised?
Thomas.
Was it Thomas? You got recognised?
Yeah, that was class. I mean, for, like, the exposure of this...
I love it.
For, like, the exposure of, like, IPT football's getting so much bigger. There's so many eyes coming towards it, and, like, I never thought that, like, someone would recognise me or in, like, a foreign country. And then it came to a point where, like, people know who we are, and I mean, like, we've all getting, like, all sorts of views on social media and stuff like that nowadays, and it's incredible, and I think the sky's the limit, really.
And kids came up and asked for a photograph with you?
Yeah, I was on holiday with my parents, and, like, they said, like, oh, there's people want a photo with you, and I was like, what's this? I've seen you on YouTube, and I was like, whoa, like, I've never experienced that.
You're an influencer now.
No, I'm not quite. I'll leave that to the other people, but, I mean, it's a surreal experience, and it's like I've only got, like, a little, like, bite-sized bit of it.
Yeah.
But it's such an important bit.
I think there's still a massive way to go in England with amputee football, but if you look at what winning the Euros did for the women's game, I think we're in prime position to go and win this tournament. Do you know what I mean?
And you can, just from chatting with Scott, you can do it. You need 30 grand to be able to do it. We're going to give you 1,000 quid as well.
That's gone straight in.
So that's on the way to... I think this is a movie waiting to happen too.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
We was actually discussing that Netflix documentary before.
That would be brilliant. Netflix, get on the phone right now.
Silver screen that do Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Or let's see if it's a movie.
Escape
You can all decide who plays who. Who's going to
play himself
for
sure. He's class. He played himself.
He would. You've been talking about yourself in the third person as well, Thomas.
I love it.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for coming.
We'll keep an eye on that page, and
Smashing.
fingers crossed we get you there. But like you say, Scott, it's bigger than that. And actually, it's not just about this tournament. It's about a broader, bigger launch pad for amputee football here in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming.
No,
Thank you.
Good stuff.
That show looks like so much fun.
Hi, by the way.
Hi.
So nice to see you
Lovely
two.
to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been lovely hanging around here today. It's been like watching TV whilst being on TV.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Not having any of the responsibility,
Exactly, it's
right?
been lovely. Thank you.
It looks so much fun.
So we shot it last autumn.
Yeah.
And it's one of those shows, you know, you're so fortunate every now and again to get a show that just lands in your lap.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, please.
Yeah.
I've been supporting the RNLI for a very long time. I grew up in Colchester, about 10 miles from the sea, so it was always a constant growing up for me. And then my family in Ireland, in the southeast of Ireland, have always, you know, been fundraisers and supporters of it. So it was one of those shows that it made, and I love my history, so it just made so much sense to me to do. And then we shot the same really small crew. We travelled around the country. We swam in the morning. We
You were reading about that.
you know, and we found out there's just these unbelievable stories. Because in your head, you think the RNLI at wartime, OK. The premise, the starting point's fascinating because, for 5.5 years, the world is imploding and, you know, is in conflict. And you have these kind of small band of what I found out quite quickly to be basically Dad's Navy, who are out there, and their sole purpose is to save lives at sea without fear or favour. So it doesn't matter
where your soul
and
comes
this is
from.
this is from 1824. These are the principles it was founded on.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter if we're at war with you, what colour your skin is. If you're in the water, we're getting you out.
So during World War II, they would pick up
Anyone.
Wow. That bit I didn't know.
That was the whole, and they got a lot of pushback for it.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure. Yeah.
But that's their whole thing, without fear or favour. If you're in the water, we want to get you out.
It is. The RNLI is an extraordinary organisation, something I'm very passionate about as well. Like you, Dermot, my family are in a small fishing village in Cornwall, in North Cornwall, and the lifeboat going out in Port Isaac when we were kids was the most exciting.
Yeah.
It's different now because they're all on pages, but the rockets used to go off. And if one rocket went off, it meant the helicopter was going out. If two rockets went off, it meant that the boat was going out. And we'd run down the hill into the village to watch the guys getting dressed up and go out.
And the thing, I think the thing you could probably equate it to is like the fire service. So as well, so it's very open, right? So, you know, when I was a kid in Colchester, the fire service would open up once a year. You used to
go and have a look.
The RNLI is exactly the same. So if you're down there on a coastal day, you know, on a nice day down by the coast, rather, you can go in and, you know, to a point, have a look, and they're so welcoming and open. But I always thought it would be centred, this documentary would be pretty much centred around the southeast of England and confined to the early part of the war, which was, you know, the 1939, 1940s, so Dunkirk and Battle of Britain and so forth. And obviously, a big part of that was what the show's based on. But then we went down to Cornwall. So the preparations for D-Day, they were needed down there. We were down in Mousehole in the Penlee lifeboat. We were up in Aldborough. We were over in the Channel Islands in Guernsey. So there's so many different
family
stories.
members as well,
so
didn't
nice.
you? How did you do that? You had proper Miss Marple.
Long story. Great Uncle Steve emigrated from Ireland to Guernsey, met a local girl, became a tomato farmer. My mum and dad went there on the honeymoon. It was the first holiday outside Ireland we went to as kids. And I was there and I said, called my mum, I was like, do you think Auntie Daph's still around? And she said,
Auntie Daph?
Yeah,
Daphne.
Auntie Daph. My mum gave me a street name and a house name. And I'm like, I'm never going to find that. And I had about an afternoon off and I drove around and I found it. And she wasn't there. I left a little message for her, and she called me the next day.
How old is she now?
She passed about 2 or 3 weeks after I saw her. She passed away. So it was so lovely to sort of go there and see her. And
she was in her 90s?
Yeah. There she is, and hooked up with her and had a, you know, and then speaking to my cousin Maureen sort of since. And it was really lovely. And she was, you know, sharp as a tack. It was so nice to see
that's
her.
lovely.
And so you had this amazing sort of process of going around the UK and working out how embedded and integrated the RNLI and the lifeboat is to all those communities.
Well, and that's the key. The interesting thing is there isn't really a central museum or a central archive, which is both a help and a hindrance, but it's a help in the sense that when you go to these stations, Margate, Aldborough, Guernsey, Penlee, you have these incredible stories that are right there.
Very specific to the areas,
So I'll meet a coxswain that maybe has just retired, whose grandfather went to Dunkirk, and he will have the same notebook. So he'll be getting out. So I'm literally reading these pages of basically the report of what happened. So you know, I stood on the Reculver Cliffs with Chris Samwell, and we looked out, and he was just saying, oh, you know, 1939, 1940 here. German Messerschmitt shot down over there, and then my grandfather launched and
to smell the sea
you're there,
air and
same
be
cliffs,
there.
same sea, same sky.
And it goes through generations as well. They all do it.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
So it's on tonight?
Tonight, 9 o'clock, BBC
Amazing.
2 and iPlayer. Yeah, it's a privilege to do, honestly.
Can't wait to see it.
Thanks, guys.
Dermot.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing.
Thank you for coming in. Now, desperate for a more shapely bottom.
Aren't we all?
Oh, I am, for sure. I'm clenching as I speak. Bonnie Louise Cooper decided that a liquid Brazilian bum lift was the answer to her prayers.
If it can work, it sounds like it could be amazing. Bonnie Louise paid £1,500 to have, get this, half a litre of filler injected into her bottom. But what started as a procedure designed to give her a quick confidence boost quickly left her fearing for her life.
Bonnie Louise joins us today alongside Dr. Zoe to tell her story. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
So, Bonnie Louise, tell me first of all, what is a Brazilian bum lift?
So I had the liquid BBL. It's literally just as simple as putting filler into your bum cheeks.
Now,
it sounds so simple when you say it like
But the idea of filler going into your face, I assume, having seen it happen, is small bits of filler. But how much was it you were going to have put in?
500 ml.
500 millilitres. Is this something you'd seen elsewhere, you'd researched, you thought, actually, that looks pretty painless, looks pretty effective, I'm going to go for it?
I really looked into it, yeah. It's something I was looking at for a long time, and found the clinic that looked very credible and booked in.
And why did it matter to you so much? Was it something that was really affecting your confidence?
Yeah, confidence boost.
OK.
Obviously, I'm a very slim, petite girl.
You're gorgeous.
And, you know, it's just, I'm naturally small, so I thought filler would be the right option for me.
Right.
You'd done all the squats in the gym and all the leg day and all that. This wasn't something...
He's checking up on you.
Yeah, because, of course, we've got a former gladiator sitting on the sofa who'll tell you actually how to get a pert bottom in the gym. But you tried all that, hadn't you?
Yeah, I just wasn't getting the results that I wanted.
Right.
Quick enough or just not at all?
It just wasn't happening.
OK. And so then when you said to us you did your research, where did you look, where did you research, and what happened that first day when you went?
So I looked on Google, like the reviews. I looked on Instagram, because obviously social media is a very credible thing, isn't it? A lot of people use that now. Found a lot of people. This certain clinic was doing quite a large number. So obviously I thought, you know, they've done quite a few. They know what they're doing. And it was just as easy as that.
So you got the reviews, you've got you've got the sort of the response. You think, right, this is the place to go to. Tell us about the experience then, because clearly it didn't go as you'd hoped.
It was horrendous. So upon my arrival, it was just not what I was expecting. It was more like a salon environment rather than a clinic environment.
Did alarm bells start going off at that point?
Yeah, a little bit. Nothing major.
OK.
It wasn't until I was actually having the filler, whilst it was in process, I just noticed it wasn't... His way of practice wasn't very clean.
Oh, in what way?
So he was mixing syringes with tissues. So it was a trolley, 3-tier trolley. And, you know, because I've got the cannula in and obviously I'm bleeding, so he's wiping the blood. And then he's putting that tissue where my fresh needles are.
OK. So it didn't sound like a particularly sterile clinic, but at that point you're committed. So you're in.
Yeah, she's got a cannula in, yeah.
So you go through the process. How long did it take?
About half an hour.
About half an hour. And then initially, did it hurt or was it fine? How did it look? Were you pleased?
It was so painful. You know, it's meant to be pain-free. It's advertised as pain-free. The pain was excruciating. I hollowed out in pain.
Did that not concern the person doing it?
He just said it was normal. Everyone reacts different. Okay. He actually said to me that I could have a bad pain threshold.
What? But you've had a baby.
I have had a baby.
So your pain threshold can't be that low.
I know, yeah. Very, very painful. I was meant to be numbed with lidocaine. There was no numbness happening.
OK. So he finished the procedure. Did it look the way you expected?
It looked great.
OK.
It looked really good. I was happy.
And then, oh, OK, this is you before and after. OK, yeah. And then what happened afterwards when you left the clinic?
Gosh, it wasn't long after I realised how unwell I was. I mean...
In what way?
The pain. So even immediately after the procedure, even getting my trousers on was a struggle.
Because it was so sensitive, so tender.
Yeah. And then, you know, I had a 4-hour journey home, and thank God I wasn't driving.
Yeah.
I was just, you know, led there in severe pain. Like, every bump I could feel, every corner. And then once I got home, after the 4 hours, I couldn't move from the waist down.
And in the end, you ended up going to hospital, right?
I did, yeah.
And what happened when you got to hospital? What did they say?
So my sister called the paramedics to my home, and they done my obs. They obviously seen that there was some sort of infection going on. So they said, right, we're going to take you to hospital. So they stood me up, obviously, because I'm non-mobile at this point, and I collapsed. So at this point, I've been blue lighted to hospital on a stretcher.
This is terrifying.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It just goes from bad to worse.
It's awful.
Yeah, I mean, well, what happened in the end? You had sepsis, didn't you? And it was a life-threatening infection. And what we're seeing is there's an organisation called Safe Face, and they said they've seen a huge number of responses, these types of stories, these things happening to many people where they're having this procedure on the high street, not by a doctor or a nurse, by a non-trained, non-medical person.
You must make your skin crawl here.
Oh, my goodness.
These complaints they've had, more than 50% of them, people have ended up with severe or life-threatening situations like this. So there is a call to ban them on the high street, which would mean that then you would want healthcare professionals doing them only. But actually, doctors who practice in aesthetics, more than 99% of them say they won't even do this procedure because it's so risky. So I think, you know, that just really says this is a very high-risk procedure, and I would say to anybody out there, seriously reconsider getting it done, unless you're going to have it done by a trained doctor.
But the risks outweigh the benefits. I mean, how are you feeling about it now, Bobby Louise?
I'm okay. I mean, I've still got, you know, I've had the filler dissolved and everything, so I've still got a lot of side effects and ongoing issues and scarring. So it's been difficult. I mean...
No more lunchtime bum lifts, back in the gym and the squats. Keep going with it.
I'm going to be back in the gym.
Thank you for coming on the show and talking about it. It's been amazing. Yeah, OK.
Now, as it's International Women's Day, we are putting the spotlight on pioneering women who are working in male-dominated industries, proving that no career is off limits.
Yeah, throughout the show, we'll be meeting women working in engineering, aviation and construction to hear their stories.
First, though, we can go live to Arsenal's... Hang on a second, this is my birthday. We're going live to Arsenal's training ground. I thought it was international... Great, wonderful, thank you. To speak to the first ever female groundskeeper. So Tara Stanford and her new apprentice, Bobby Murphy. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, it's good to have you with us. So, Tara, what is it like to be Arsenal's first ever female groundskeeper? And talk us through how you got the job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Arsenal fan. I'm a huge football fan. And just getting the job here at Arsenal has been absolutely unbelievable. I've been in the industry for about 8 years now. I started off as a grounds maintenance operative at the council for 7 years. It was there where I got my level 2 in horticulture. I thought, you know what, I need to, you know, get away from that now, and I saw the opportunity to work for Arsenal, and yeah, I took that, and I've been here for 1.5 years now.
And Tara, what's that interview process like? Like, so when you go for the job, like, I mean, presumably you're not bringing samples and going, this is something I did earlier. You know, how does it work?
Well, I basically was there just to get a temporary job for 3 months. I wasn't supposed to get the full-time job, but it was basically me covering for someone who left through illness. But within the first 2 weeks, they came back to me and said they offered me a full-time job here at Arsenal. And yeah, I've been here for 1.5 years now.
Oh, well done you, Tara, and as well, like your favourite football team. So, Tara, you know, you look after 11 pitches there at Arsenal, training pitches. What is it, your day-to-day routine like?
So right now, it's a lot of grass cutting, as you would imagine. There's 11 football pitches here. It's all about keeping the grass healthy and maintained. So it's a lot of brushing, a lot of watering, marking out, making sure that it's nice and place to train on.
Oh, lovely. And you're joined by Bobby. And Bobby, I want to congratulate you because you got the job, you're an apprentice there, and you got the job when 150 male applicants applied, and you got the job over everyone. So well done you.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to be, you know, a grounds person there and to have got the job over 150 applicants?
It was a pretty proud moment for me. I am an Arsenal fan as well, so working here at the club is a great achievement of mine.
And Bobby, you were working as an embroiderer, so how did you get into this?
So I am a football coach, so I started coaching about a couple of years ago now, and I just fell in love with football, and I knew I wanted to go down the career path, whether it be in the industry. So my boss, Daniel Bickerton, actually warned me about the apprenticeship role coming up. So he kind of gave me that go-ahead to come and take the job, and then I applied for it, went through all the process, and, yeah, got it over all them men.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to say, as an Arsenal fan, thank you for your service, first and foremost. But I would say this, being an Arsenal fan, but it's always seen as quite a progressive club. Do you find it a progressive club there? So would sort of Arteta and Jonas Eidevall, would they, you know, the women's manager, would you be in regular conversations with them?
Sorry, I didn't hear that too clearly.
I didn't hear it either.
No. Oh, OK. Can you hear us now, or can you hear us now?
Yeah.
I was just saying, how much consultation would you speak to the managers on a regular basis about what they wanted and how the pitches sort of, would change? Given if they're playing away from home, for example, you'd have to prep the training pitch in a different way.
Yeah, I think they like to keep the pitches here at Arsenal all kind of the same throughout the season. I think, as you well know, Arsenal like to play a fast-paced game, so the length of the pitches usually are the same, and they like to keep the pitches nice and healthy, nice and watered, just for that fast-playing game, yeah. And
do you get the feeling that are you sort of included there? Do you feel like you're part of the team, both the women's and the men's team?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone here, all the staff, all the players here are very welcoming. They're really kind. They're always they praise us quite a lot when they walk past. Yeah, it's just a really nice, friendly environment to be around.
And football games, they can get quite heckly at times. Have you experienced a lot of that?
I personally haven't at the moment. I've done quite a few of the women's games. I've done one men's game, and I haven't really experienced any heckling. The women's games are very family friendly, so no, it's all very friendly.
Oh, lovely.
And speaking of which, you must
Likewise, I haven't.
I beg your pardon, sorry.
Sorry, I haven't. I've had quite a positive experience as well.
And just lastly, you must be incredibly proud of doing your jobs and so forth. But the last two games, I think, the Manchester United game and the North London derby, the women's game, have had record crowds at the Emirates, 60,000. I mean, that must make you feel incredibly kind of heartened as to where the game's going.
Yeah, do you know what? It goes to show where the game is going. Unfortunately, with the ground industry, there's only 2% of women that are actually in this industry, so the rest are men. So it's a very male-dominated environment, but me and Bobby and the rest of the girls that were there Sunday, we're hopefully going to try and change that.
Well, Tara, Bobby, yeah, you are working in a very male-dominated environment, and well done you. Yeah, you're doing a perfect job there, so we better let you go because that is a lot of pitches. Isn't it? That is a lot of pitches to look after. Yeah, well done you.
Thank you.
Thanks for making it
Thanks,
that 2%.
Tara.
Happy International Women's Day.
Now, forget about the pink for a while. Forget about your 50 Shades of Grey. Who cares about painting the town red? No Blue Mondays around here. It's not even St. Patrick's Day, but it's all about the green. In fact, it's about the green lady of Brooklyn's life, and she is just fabulous.
Yes, everything in Elizabeth Sweetheart's life is green, from her bright green hair and her fingernails to her self-dyed green overalls. She has definitely earned the nickname New York locals gave her.
And we have greened up our green room here, and we're going live to Brooklyn to join Elizabeth. Elizabeth Sweetheart, the most wonderful surname I've ever heard, ever. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us live from Brooklyn. Good to see you. How are you today?
Hi, Craig. Very good.
Elizabeth, where did the obsession with the colour green come from?
I think it's because I love color, and I've worn a lot of color through my life, and green just seemed to be the happiest and made everybody happy, and it's easy to live with. It's just wonderful.
Well, Elizabeth, as an Irishman, I agree with your colour of choice. It's a very calming colour, isn't it? Elizabeth, everything is green in your life, not just for our cameras today, but this is how you live your life. Is that right? Tell us how you go about your day in green.
It's been a while, so it is just very naturally green. And I wake up in the morning and it's very happy and pleasing, and I make my coffee in a green coffee maker. My grinder's green. It's just a green world.
We're seeing pictures of your house at the moment, Elizabeth, and it is green. Everything's green.
All the accents are green, and that's the important thing. Yes.
Elizabeth, did you decide overnight that you were just going to be the green lady, or did it come, you know, did it come slowly to you, or was it a sudden thing?
It's over a long period of time, and it's not a deliberate choice. It just happened over 25 years. And I think not even my partner, Robert, knew that it was green until it really was. So it just crept up.
What does he think about it all? Does he like the colour green, your partner, Robert?
He really enjoys it because there are so many interesting people and interesting stories, and it's a lot of fun. It really is.
Elizabeth, you have such a lovely manner about you and a lovely, happy, smiling face. And Brooklyn's a very busy, bustling part of New York. I'm just wondering what it's like when you're out and about in the streets, how people react to you. What kind of joy do you bring?
People are just wonderful. And when they see me, they smile and are happy, and they love to take photos, and we do selfies, and then we hug each other. It's very positive, and it's always, you know, good. And,
well, you've started a green revolution, and now you are an internet sensation at age 83. I mean, what is it like being so recognised and being an internet sensation?
Well, it doesn't really affect you. It's just, that's who I am. And so I love to meet people, and I love people who smile and are happy. And it's all very natural, and it works with the way I live. And it's just very positive.
The shocking, controversial headline here, Elizabeth, sweetheart, is that your mother is from Wales, which means everything should be red.
Mother is from Wales, but she was brought up in London and studied medicine in London, and met my father in London and got married, and then brought her back to Nova Scotia.
Well, you've stayed with your mother's tradition because, Elizabeth, you are medicine for the soul. You really are. Lovely talking to you. It's also, Josie, like, I think, what time, 3 a.m.?
Yeah, Elizabeth, we just wanted to thank you, you know, for letting our cameraman into your home at 3 a.m. in the morning, and, you know, you're still all smiles, because I don't know how I would feel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And happy St. Patrick's Day. You do well. You make a fortune St. Patrick's Day. Well done.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Elizabeth, sweetheart. What a beautiful name.
Our next guest has struggled with confidence throughout her life due to living with a stammer that's affected how she communicates with the world.
But after challenging herself to take part in some everyday activities that many of us take for granted, Jessie Yendall ended up finding her voice in a way she'd never anticipated.
Hello?
Hello? Tuna like salad, please. Sweet chili sauce, please. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've got like
I can't say it, like drama, and I like to brighten up people's day. So I just want to hand you some like flowers. I'd love to give you these sunflowers to make your day. You are an absolutely beautiful person. I'm shaking. I thank you for speaking to me. Oh my gosh, you're crying. I am.
Jessie joins us now alongside consultant speech and language therapist Elaine Kelman. Welcome to you both. Welcome. I don't know why. I know.
Oh, my eyes are getting a bit wet. It's so moving,
yeah,
isn't it?
And I don't know why it's so moving. And I wonder if it's because, do we think you might be in pain as you're stammering? But look, it's a pleasure to have...
the kindness.
Yeah.
I think you're always overwhelmed, aren't you, when people are actually kind and people are patient.
Yes,
and
patient.
I think we're instantly overwhelmed. We're that nation that we want everything in a rush.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
And
thank
let's
you.
go right back to the beginning. You've lived with it for all of your life.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you realised yourself, actually, I'm slightly different to everybody else?
So I just remember, and I was in the classroom, and obviously, like, the teacher, and she goes around the class. I mean, you have to say, like, the register, don't you? And that's when I realised that I wasn't like my friends. I mean, it wasn't up until I was then obviously getting frustrated. I did, like, the school thing. OK, we need to get in. I'm a speech and language therapist, and then I went from there, basically. And I've also put in the book, you know.
Yeah.
About, like, the journey. I've obviously been a child, and then just living with a speech impediment.
You can obviously see the, like, you know, reading snippets of the book and hearing about your journey to watching your TikTok videos.
Yes.
This has been really quite the journey, hasn't it? And when it comes to your confidence. You know, when you wasn't in the place that you're in now, and now you're sort of brightening everyone else's day up,
thank you.
How did it impact your confidence, and how did it impact your social life?
So growing up, obviously, as a teenager, and you have your friends, and they ask you if you want to go to the cinema, and you're not thinking about the cinema, and you're thinking, OK, I'm gonna have to get the bus. I'm then gonna have to ask for, like, the cinema ticket, and then you have to ask for the popcorn, and that's what you're thinking about. And then you don't end up going to the cinema. You're like, I'm OK, actually, I'm going to stay at home, and I'm going to do, like, my homework. And then you do miss out. And obviously, and that does impact your life growing up. And then I met, like, my husband, and I tried to not... Yes, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I've got them. I just saw in the book. Yeah, they're in the book. I was looking. There we are.
And
there
obviously, when I met my husband at such a young age, and I tried to hide it from him, as I felt ashamed. And I've spent my childhood in speech therapy, and I've done the speaking courses, and that just wasn't for me. And that's what then... And then I decided, because we had the pandemic, didn't we? And the world just got really small, and you had to use the phone all the time. Yeah. And I struggle with the phone because you can't see my speech impediment. And then you get people putting the phone down on you because they're like, hello, as you saw in that video. And I got myself in a really dark place during the pandemic. And I thought to myself, OK, I'm the only person who can make a difference is myself. And that's when I decided to challenge myself, and I've popped in the book about my challenges and just about giving everything a go in life, no matter if it's like your confidence, if it's your anxiety, I just give it a go.
Elaine, what is a stammer?
A stammer is something where you know exactly what you want to say, and because of neurological reason, you can't actually get those sounds or those words out. So you might get stuck and nothing comes out, or you might say it lots of times or stretch it. So it's a sort of physiological thing that prevents somebody from saying what they want to say. And then it can have a bigger impact, as Jessie's talked about, on, you know, you might want to hide it, you might feel embarrassed, you might get teased. So all of that psychological stuff then happens, but it starts off basically as a physical thing.
I was just going to say, because you don't... I would instantly think that this happens as a child, and this is something that, you know, you see in quite a lot of children, and something that they can perhaps grow out of, or perhaps gets a lot worse. But this, when typically does someone develop a stammer, or is there no typical stammer?
There's no typical stammer, but usually people start to stammer when they start to talk. So I don't know if that's what happened for you, Jessie. Yeah. So they start to talk. Sometimes they start and it's not apparent, and then as they get more using more complicated words and language, that's when it begins. And you're right, a lot of children do then stop. Just spontaneously, it kind of evens out and everything stops. But for a lot of people, it continues, and for some people, they can go through life with a stammer and it doesn't really have much of an impact, and other people, it can actually have quite a huge impact. And what our job is to have people like Jessie out there who stammer, and it's, you know, she's out there.
Well, it's funny when you think about, because the simple things and what I suppose deemed to us the small things can really make a difference. Your confidence kind of all turned around with something so simple as ordering a coffee, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I just decided to go around the drive-through because that was one of my biggest fears, because you can't, because the person, and they can't see you. And that was one of my fears. So I decided to film myself, and at the time, and I just had like my friends on my TikTok, as you do.
Yeah.
And I decided to post the video and never thought anything of it. And then I saw like the love and support, and that was cheering me on. And then I started getting the messages from other people who have also got a speech impediment, and then they were going out and they were doing their own little speaking challenges, and that's how I went from the drive-through. And then I wanted to challenge myself even more. I did the random acts of kindness, and then I got my confidence up to the place of where I went on a plane on my own, and I went on holiday because my confidence was up there. I was going out for food on my own, and that's what the book is all about. It's about your confidence and just to have a go at everything. And there's no limitation.
No, well, you're nailing it. Think about it. You're sat on national television.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's kind of you. Who would have thought it, right? It's brilliant. I love it.
I must ask, for anybody watching who comes into contact or knows or sees somebody with a stammer, what's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the right thing
I think
to do?
you're asking the wrong person. It's the person who knows best the right thing to do. Is sitting next to me.
Yeah, you tell us.
Yeah, you
so honestly, it's to do with patience.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do, is to be a patient, because we will get our words out, because we do have a voice. And just to avoid things like checking your watch and stuff, because that just makes the sound a bit, oh no, a bit panicky.
I know.
Oh my life.
It just loses my faith in everybody that does.
I know, but it has happened in the past. So and that's the one thing I would say. Oh, please don't do that.
I think you're so incredibly brave.
Oh, thank you.
Because if I'm at a drive-through and you're saying it again and again, and you're praying that the person on the other end is patient, you went there, did it, and that's a huge thing for you, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Incredibly honest, too. It's brilliant. You're trailblazing. What you're doing for everybody else is fantastic.
Oh, it means the world. Thank you.
Good luck with the book.
Thank you so much.
It is out now. Elaine, thank you for coming in as well.
You're welcome.
Jessie, honestly, thank you so much for coming to see us.
Well done. Well done. Brilliant stuff.
That last year, fraud cases in the UK more than doubled, making 2023 the second biggest year for scams in 2 decades.
But have you ever heard of supermarket gift card scams? Well, they are, as we know, a popular gift choice and can be used to buy anything from groceries to electricals and toys. And they're usually located by the tills at the end of your shop.
And Action Fraud reported £13.5 million was lost in gift card fraud alone last year.
Well, one person that knows knows all too well the traumatising effects of these scams is Debbie Horwood, whose 80-year-old mum was scammed out of £115,000.
Debbie joins us now to tell us more alongside our consumer expert, Alice Spear. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Debbie, the first thing I have to ask is, firstly, how is your mum at the moment? Because obviously she's been through quite some trauma.
She's doing really well,
OK.
Actually, all considering. She's got a lot of support and help from the NHS and friends and family.
So what was it that alerted you to there being a problem?
She reached out to one of my brother's friends to borrow some money, which was an instant red flag to him, so he made my brother aware. We then confronted my mum the following day to ask her why she felt that she needed to borrow this money from my brother's friend. And she said that she was helping a friend with a business transaction, to which we asked, who's your friend? Can you give us a bit more detail? And she said, well, it's an old friend from school, Richie Blackmore. I was like, why does Richie Blackmore need help from you, Mum, with a business transaction? It doesn't make sense. How's he communicated with you? I don't understand. You need to explain this. I mean, the emotional roller coaster that we've been through is just immense.
Well, I can only imagine. And this went on for quite a long time, right, over the course of a year or so.
Well, we've established that the transactions that are the most poignant ones were over 14 months. And I had started to notice a massive change with my mum over the last year with various odd things that she was doing.
Well, it made you worry that she had Alzheimer's, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was in June where she was looking after me following an operation, so she was spending a lot more time with me, so I was able to obviously observe more things that I would do ordinarily. And it really concerned me, so I did phone the doctors. I took her for a memory test, and the doctor had sort of... we come to realise that she's 80 and I just have to accept that there's going to be some changes with my mum. But it was really sad because I felt like I was losing my best friend.
Oh,
and to have to accept that my mum's old.
Yeah.
And this is my new mum.
So how did the scammers get in touch with your mum?
It started on social media. She'd put a post about cycling to school with Richie Blackmore because they came from the same area in Heston. And obviously this person has gone through her Facebook page, picked up the name and then created a profile with this picture, obviously done their research on school, Heston area. So obviously when they reached out to my mum, she didn't for 1 minute think it wasn't him.
So she thought it was Richie, who she'd gone to school with. He's the guitarist from Deep Purple.
That's right.
And it absolutely wasn't him, but she believed she was talking to him.
She was told not to tell any of the family because of his profile and just keep the relationship, the contact that they had just to themselves.
And this sort of gift card transaction, this is actually the first time I've ever heard of a scam, and we'll get into the details in a little bit with you, Alice. This is the first time I've actually ever heard of anything like this, and it's quite unique. So this could be something that's happening regularly and really kind of sort of fooling people. These were transactions that were happening daily in the end, right? These were sort of, I mean, £115,000 is a lot of money, and split that across a year. These were vouchers, and it was getting her to send codes. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, she would go into the supermarkets daily.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of monies that she spent on a daily basis was just insane. She would take the code off of the Apple gift card and then send it over on this app, communication app that he'd set up for her as well.
And she believed the code that she was sending was for some sort of investment into shares into something greater.
Some business arrangement.
Right. OK, I think this is a good point to bring you in, Alice. These gift cards, and I've got to make sure, we see things like this all the time in the supermarket.
Yeah.
And these are being used in a fraudulent way that then hoodwinked Debbie's mum.
A gift card is a lovely thing. It's a way of giving a relative or a friend a present without buying them a present that they don't want. It's a well-established thing. You know, I used to get £5 book token when I was younger. But they are also tantamount to cash. So if you buy a gift card of high worth, an Apple one or a Google one, usually cashed in for in-app purchases or gaming, if you buy one and you give somebody else the code for that, you are giving them the value of that card. So what Val was doing was going into supermarkets repeatedly and buying £400, £200, £100, £600 worth of gift cards. You find the gift card on the stand, you take it up to the till, you load it with the amount of money, and then you walk out with it. And then she was obviously passing on that code. Once you have passed on that code, money gone. Money gone, money virtually untraceable. You're not going to get that money back, which is why they don't do it by bank transfers, why they don't do it by credit card. They come off the banking system, they come off all kind of social media, they take you into another place where they can manipulate you. And that's what they did to the point of, well, you can say what happened to your mum in the end. I mean, it's just hideous. But...
Go on, Debbie.
So 2 weeks after me and my brother found out, we had decided that we would keep this to ourselves and not tell my dad because he hadn't been very well and we just didn't think that he would be able to comprehend what has gone on. You know, my mum has given away all of her inheritance and, you know, her life was going to be very different after that with no sort of slush fund, so to speak. So we said between me, my brother and my son that we would keep this to us, keep her dignity and do what we needed to do to keep her happy.
Did you call the police?
Yeah, the police were informed straight away, actually. So we found out on the Friday and we contacted them on the Saturday. 2 weeks after that, we had to go to the bank so that I could organise my third-party agreement. And anyway, it was quite a stressful afternoon, and the following morning, she attempted suicide.
Oh, goodness me. But the effect and the impact something that this can have, as you know yourself, is just tremendous. What happens to the individual, the person that's posing as Richie? What happens? Is he traceable? Is this because it's on a code? Is it virtually impossible to track somebody like this?
Well, we did try. We've got a friend that has a private investigator contact, and I did give the card, the contact number, and we've located it to being used from a town in China called Dalian.
Right.
So, we've took advice from Hong Kong police as well, who said that really any transactions from there, the money would be washed through to Burma and Thailand, and it's really untraceable.
Alice, we've got to try and help other people that might be watching right now.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean,
we had never heard of this scam, and we
ever.
talked about it yesterday, so...
And that's interesting. But I'll tell you who does know about it, retailers.
Right.
Every supermarket, every high street retailer that sells a gift card knows that this is a crime. This is what happens. If I go to my ATM, I've got a daily limit. If I try and get cash back at the till, I've got a limit. And yet, an 80-year-old can go time after time after time and buy huge value cards.
Was she going to the same supermarket?
No, there are a few supermarkets that she visited frequently, but she basically went to all of the supermarkets.
So she was because she was being told don't go to the same place all the time. Maybe.
I don't know that they were telling her don't go to them, but she just drifted around.
Okay.
And have a little look. I spent yesterday afternoon going through Val's bank statements and to pull out transactions that were more than £250 because many of the supermarkets had told me that they would flag that up. So you can just, that's quite fast, but you can see Farnborough Morrison's 400, Farnborough Morrison's 400, Waitrose Fleet 400, Morrison's Farnborough again 400. 300 transactions in that same Morrison store for £400, and nobody thought this 80-year-old woman shouldn't be doing this. You know, Val in total spent over £31,000 in one Morrison store.
Yeah, there has to be.
Right, so where's the protection? Is there any protection?
Well, the supermarkets were all genuinely horrified and sorry for what had happened to Val. I will read their responses. They've all said it's a known crime and Val was, but they should have known. Val was repeatedly going up to them, buying those high-value cards. The British Retail Consortium has said we sympathise with victims of the scams where vulnerable individuals are often the target. Retailers retailers are educating their staff. That's what it's about. It's about educating your staff. And I'm sorry, supermarkets, you have not got it right yet. In the one local Waitrose store, she spent over £21,000. Waitrose has said, we're really sorry to hear about this story. We've issued additional guidance to our shops and looking at what safeguards we can put in place. Morrison's, where she spent nearly £32,000 in one store, £19,000 in another Morrison's store, has said they take gift card fraud very seriously. They've also said any gift card transaction over £250 would flag up an alert. Well, I'm sorry, but yesterday afternoon, one of Debbie's relatives went into that very same Morrison's and tried to make three £300 purchases, and all of them were going to go through the till before they pulled out of the purchase. I've just got a couple more that I've got to read. Sainsbury's said, be assured we're taking this extremely seriously, fully investigating Valerie's case. We include fraud warnings at the gift card fixtures, our till systems, limit the number of gift cards that can be sold at any one time. Boots were the only company that actually stopped Valerie buying gift cards, but only after she'd spent £12,000 in one branch. But they are, and then Tesco's are investigating Miss Horwood's case and have identified a number of transactions. Tesco's are the only supermarket, actually, who have offered to give a refund and are refunding Valerie £10,000. Supermarkets, you have to step up on this. This is not good enough.
And from the head office perspective, that's one thing. Yeah, I think as a community, and as, you know, in those sort of small towns and within the area, you know, if you see the same person, like, it's sort of that sort of customer.
She's chatty. She's quite, you know, she stands out, doesn't she?
She was known. They all knew. When I went round to the supermarkets to make them aware of this scam, they all knew my mum. Yeah. They knew her.
Is there any protection at all in this situation?
No,
None whatsoever.
That's why this is the scam.
That's why we're here.
And that's why I got Action Fraud. There weren't any known figures. I got Action Fraud to pull those figures from last year and find out that £13.5 million was lost last year. Have the conversation with your relatives. Look after them. Make it known. You shouldn't be embarrassed. You shouldn't be, you know, feel stupid about this. This is a very, very horrible crime.
And Richie sent a message as well, hasn't he?
He did, yes. It's obviously nothing to do with Richie, but he does care very deeply about what happened to your mother.
That's kind.
I just learned about Valerie being scammed out of a lot of money by somebody who supposedly is me. I would never reach out to somebody on the social media or the internet because I don't personally use that. I just hope that they catch the thief that's done this and that she gets her health back and everything works out fine. So all the best, Richie Blackmore.
Thank you. Hopefully your mum will watch that and get some sort of comfort. Thank you so much for coming in, Debbie.
Thank you, and please send our love to your mum.
I will do.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. If you've been affected by anything we've spoken about here, please do go to our free This Morning app, where there are helplines and charities you can reach out to.
Yes.
Now, this next film is one that many of you will identify with, because sadly, 900,000 people, incredible number of people in the UK, are living with dementia.
Yeah, our very own Sian Welby is one of those whose life has been affected by the condition after her father was diagnosed with vascular dementia. Here, she shares her family's story.
I think what's changed my dad the most is just his independence. He was such a practical, can-do-it man. I never went to an MOT thinking the car would fail because my dad would fix it. He could do plumbing, he could build shelves, and we started noticing that he started struggling with the problem-solving element of things like that he'd normally just be able to solve. And so he relies on everybody a lot more. And in that way, not only did he lose his independence, but he started to lose his purpose, and it definitely got him down. Oh, and happy birthday.
Isn't my birthday?
It is. 84 you are today, can you believe it?
Good God.
Before my dad got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I didn't have a clue about it. I knew it's a very cruel disease, and it's something that, as a family, we've never had to deal with. My gran never had it, my granddad didn't, so it was totally new to me, and we honestly didn't know anything. My dad is such a character. Like, the fact that my mum let him have his drum kit in the living room for all of my life. He's always been just a really fun person to be around.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
And he's quite a quirky character. He used to have this E-type Jaguar that he always talks about, that he spray painted bright pink. So I think that's where I get all my craziness from, is my dad. Who were Tennessee Stud?
Yes, they were a band I played with those. I don't know.
Yeah, look, Ian Welby, drums.
Yeah.
Look, you've written on this one.
Oh, yeah, to Helen would love. Oh, I bought it for Helen.
Yeah.
Your mum.
About 3 years ago it started. I started getting a little bit annoyed with him, which was most unusual. You know, he'd ask me something and I'd tell him, and then a few minutes later he'd be asking me the same thing, and I thought, oh, you know, just think about it for a moment.
It does creep up on you. He was wandering off to the shed and forgetting why he was going there, but then it started happening more, and to the point where he had no memory of why he was going there. Follow me, Dad.
Okay.
The hardest thing is not having that clever man all the time. Sometimes he's there and sometimes he isn't, and the hardest thing is me adjusting to how much help he needs. Sometimes I overstep my mark and I'm helping him too much because he's an independent guy. And then other times I realised I've asked him to do something that I think's easy, like make a sandwich, and he can't, that day you can't sequence it.
There's a lot of advice out there, but it doesn't always appeal to everyone. My dad, for instance, is such a practical man. He would not sit and do a painting or pottery or a jigsaw puzzle. It's just not him, you know.
There you go, you can use that if you want.
Do you know what it was? He needed to feel like a dad again.
He'd sort of at one point lost his role as a dad because we were doing everything. You know, he couldn't drive, he couldn't make dinner, he couldn't do the shopping anymore.
Couldn't cut the grass.
Couldn't cut the grass, couldn't fix the cars, couldn't do any of the stuff he always did. Do you remember when I brought that whole cupboard up from London just so he could paint it with me?
Just filming your handiwork.
Rather than paint a picture, we would paint a cupboard because that's a practical thing, and I said I need it for my house. So I'm literally hauling this cupboard up from London to the Midlands because I knew that this activity was worthwhile doing.
I think we bought this down south somewhere.
Really?
Things like that then sparked a conversation. He goes, oh, I remember where we got this from.
We were on holiday at the seaside.
Oh, nice.
And then we realised that when his mind was busy doing something practical, the conversation was so much better, and he stayed in the moment for so much longer. What do you think the secret is to staying young?
Staying young?
Yeah.
Stay with the young.
Stay with the young. And I'd almost describe it, people say this, of getting your dad back. You know, I got the old dad back when we started doing activities together. And we've never really let you retire, have we?
Oh, no, I don't think I'll retire.
No.
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 I think something will catch up with me before then.
Obviously, we know that as it stands, there's no cure and it will progressively get worse. I don't know, what are your sort of hopes and fears of the future?
I literally just take each day we see him. If we're having a good week, we're having a good week. If we're having a bad week, you just move on and get on with it. And I try not to think too far ahead about where we're going to end up. To dwell on that would just make you sad. So I think it's better just to appreciate what you've got right now and enjoy the right now.
I think the devastating thing about Alzheimer's is it's one of the cruelest diseases because you're losing their personality and eventually you're going to become strangers. Even the thought of it makes me, like, I could cry now because the thought of someone like your own dad not knowing who you are, the thought that it would get to a point where you're going to walk into a room and they'll say, who are you? Do I know you? And it's so possible that it's heartbreaking.
Oh, it's very moving, Sian. Sian joins us now along with neurologist Dr. Catherine Mummery from the UCL Dementia Centre. I can relate, and we've spoken about this. I lost my dad to vascular dementia 3 years ago, and it's an incredibly difficult journey, but can be, in a weird way, very rewarding.
Yeah.
But you talk about it like you are.
100%, and I think part of what I've tried to embrace is not sort of missing the old version of him, but just trying to embrace this new version of him, which I have to be a bit more patient with and sort of make him feel like he can be my dad and I can ask him the right questions, and he can, if you do ask the right questions and you get in that conversation, he can carry on almost like normal. It's just certain things, you know, will catch him out. If the room is too busy, if there's too many voices, if the question is about too many short-term memory type things like, oh, where did mum go?
can't answer that. But if you ask him something that was 50 years ago, he'll talk about it for 20 minutes. So it's a really confusing disease in a way, because sometimes you can almost forget he has it, and then other times it is so obvious.
And you've hit on something there, because, and I guess everyone has the same experience. From our experience, it kind of creeps up on you, Catherine, and their mood changes. They mightn't like going into the shower anymore. They might have little accidents now and again. Inexplainable things. You're like, oh, they're very grumpy today. But that can be the start of it. And you just have to learn and gain knowledge, don't you, and get more patient.
Exactly. And I think there are two things. I mean, firstly, thank you so much for sharing that film. There's so much you can learn from that. And it's so relatable. And also, if you think about it, the number of people on this sofa that have got somebody that was affected by dementia are at least 3 out of 4 of us. There may even be 4. So it's a very common problem, but trying to understand the beginning of it and trying to pick it up is really tricky. What you showed was it doesn't define the person at the beginning. You can still get to the real person, and you can still make the most of that time and learn what they can do well and really play with those things with them as a family. I think that's really important.
Again, thanks, Sean, for sharing that video. It's lovely to see you in your own surroundings. It's a beautiful video to watch. But what are the early signs that we should be looking out for?
So I think some of them, Sean demonstrated really well in the video with her dad. We all forget words. We all forget names every now and again and get a bit chaotic about an appointment. But if things happen regularly, so, for example, if somebody starts to forget things more quickly, they're repeating a question, they've forgotten the plot of their favourite TV programme, that sort of thing. If their organisation isn't as good as it used to be, you mentioned about your dad, but somebody that used to book a holiday automatically all of a sudden can't do it anymore, can't write a report at work, that sort of thing. And if they start to have little difficulties with words, those sorts of things, or confusion of time or space, those are the things you should go and see somebody about.
What about when you go into a room and you just think, what am I doing in here? What have I come in here for? You know, what's...
I did that this morning.
Oh, right, OK, but I do it all the time.
Do it all the time.
Do you know, I found my dad, when that started happening, a defence mechanism would kick in, and he'd get annoyed.
Yeah.
And it was him defending just the confusion and fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I relate to that as well, Craig, because I think there's a lot of pride, because you don't want to keep repeating yourself. There's stages where my dad is aware that he might have repeated himself, or he's aware that his question might sound ridiculous, so he doesn't want to ask. Something that we did, that it took us a while to work out, but he was waking up. If you've only got long-term memory and no short-term, you've got no context, he was waking up not even knowing what year he was in. So if you have to start the morning with that kind of question, which sounds so bizarre, and it makes you embarrassed, we bought him this clock that said not only the date, the time, but the month, the year, and gave him that context immediately. And it's helped even just my mum not having the same repetitive chat with him, because he can work some of these things out for himself now.
And often people... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, there is a bit of hope now. There's 2 new drugs on the market. Can you talk us through them and when they will be looking to be licensed in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, we've had nothing really in terms of a treatment that can change disease for 20+ years. But we now have the potential to start to change the disease a little bit. And these 2 new drugs that you're talking about, one's lecanemab, one's donanemab, they are being considered right now for approval in this country. One's approved in the States and China already. What they do, unlike the symptom treatments, is they change the biology in the brain of the disease. So they try and remove the abnormal protein. And that, in the trials, showed a slowdown in the progression of symptoms that people had. Not by a huge amount, but by a significant amount.
So it's slowing the process.
It's slowing
It's not a cure, but
no, it's not a cure, and it's not a wonder drug, but it's the beginning.
OK, thank you. Right, now here at This Morning, we are pleased to announce that we will be launching a campaign to raise awareness of dementia.
Yeah, we want to continue the conversation. It's so important, so we'd like to welcome the Health Secretary, Victoria Aikens, to join us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And I saw you on the side there listening in very intently. And, you know, everyone's trying to do something about this. There's a lot of unknowns.
I'm glad to say there is funding going towards research. So where are you with that?
Well, first of all, can I thank you both for sharing your stories. I cannot tell you how much it helps people watching at home who are probably caring for someone as they're watching the television, and you sharing your stories and also showing the joy that we can still have with our family members even when they have this very, very difficult diagnosis. So thank you, and thank you also for your campaign. So in terms of the medical side of this, obviously Catherine is the expert, but in 2013 David Cameron challenged all of the G7 nations, the biggest economies in the world, to find treatments for dementia and Alzheimer. And that is why these two medicines that are emerging, they're being scrutinised at the moment. This is really exciting because that is a worldwide piece of work that we wanted to spearhead because, as you rightly say, Craig, there are 900,000 people living with this at the moment. But as we've discovered this morning, of course, it's not just the diagnosis for Ian or for your dad, it's the wider ramifications for the family and carers. And I have an amazing constituent lady called Chris, whose husband Bob very sadly was diagnosed with early onset dementia and has passed away. But Chris has created a one-stop shop called Bob's Brainwaves, which is aimed to help families in the aftermath of that diagnosis, trying to find the official information they need with the DVLA, with benefits, with carers respite and so on. And it's a really successful little programme in my constituency in Lincolnshire. I want, as Health Secretary, to roll that out because I want to help support families and carers in those very difficult days and weeks after a diagnosis where it can all seem very daunting.
On a very practical level, and it's brilliant there's money going towards research, but Shan's father living with it, and things change all the time. The baseline changes. I know my father, we had to get care in, we had to get him in somewhere, and it's hugely expensive. The Irish government have a system called Fair Deal. It looks at the house your parents own, takes a small percentage of that, but it pays a huge chunk. About 90% of home care or nursing care needs, and that allows you to make really good choices for the person in your life and put them somewhere really nice. Does that exist here, and should it exist here?
So we have a system of support, and we're very, very conscious of the enormously important role that unpaid
We're talking
carers,
about thousands of pounds a month.
We are, and so we announced a little while ago reforms that we're looking at introducing October 2025. We're having to work out how we roll that out because this is a huge issue for so many people. We're very conscious of that. But as I say, first of all, we want to help with the treatments, but I also want to try and help it with those practical measures in the very first weeks, because you, as a family, have so much on your plate that if we can get this information to you in a one-stop shop, then I really do think that will help a lot of people.
And the years of care.
Absolutely.
Years of care.
And this is, you've both explained so well how symptoms change, how people's reactions change. And actually there was an announcement we made this week, which I hope people will find helpful. We talked about, I don't know if you've heard about Martha's Rule. We announced it yesterday. It's a really important initiative, and it came about because of the very tragic case of Martha Mills, a 13-year-old beloved daughter of Merope and Paul, who passed away with sepsis. And both Merope and Paul felt that their voices weren't heard in the hospital when they were explaining the symptoms were changing. And so we're introducing this rule that will require or enable parents and families to get a second set of eyes on their loved one if they think their conditions are deteriorating. And that's really important actually for elderly patients, because families will know if the levels of confusion, you will know the if you like, what their normal is. And you will be able to say to the clinicians, look, this is not Dad, he's deteriorating in a way that a clinician may not. So Martha's Rule, we tend to look at it from a child's perspective, but I also think, I hope it will really help our older relatives and citizens as well.
And that is being rolled out over 100 hospitals.
Yeah.
Now, we've already got a stretched NHS. Yeah. Do you think you can do that? A second opinion?
I'm determined to do this. So because it's such a big step forward for patient safety, we have to, we can't click our fingers and it happens overnight. So we're rolling out the first tranche of 100 hospitals across England. I'm only responsible for healthcare in England, but and then it will go to every acute hospital. I'm determined to do this.
Dr. Mummery, you're on the front line.
Yeah.
Need more funding?
We always need more funding. For Martha's Rule, I think is an absolutely fantastic idea. I agree that the vulnerable, whether they're children or whether they are people that can't actually defend themselves from the point of view of their memory and their function, so important. From the point of view of these new treatments and trying to roll things out in the NHS and making us value for money and available and ability to give the treatments in the future, I think that's where the government needs to really look at how we're going to get these treatments out, how we're going to make sure we give them to people equitably across the country.
I completely agree. I'm delighted that Catherine is leading our research programme on this. So we announced a little while ago £50 million more of funding into research because we all understand we want to stop it, and if we can't do that, we want to, in the meantime, try and slow it down. It's really exciting that you're leading this. But I mean, the UK is in a unique, genuinely, we are in a unique position across the world because of our NHS, because of the data that we have, the systems that we have in place, all of the life sciences, or if you like, the pharmaceutical companies, they see us as an amazing place to do their research and to work with us safely to make sure it gets to patients.
Keep having the conversations is what we have to do. And can I just say to Sian, your family are doing all the right things. Have the big conversations now, have the difficult conversations now, and enjoy him.
Yes.
You're still your dad.
100%.
Play to his
Love for you both to come back and do a phone-in with us if you could. That'd be great.
Absolutely love to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Now, we have two very special guests on the sofa this morning. 9-year-old Maya and her mum, Lauren, have had their lives completely transformed thanks to some amazing eye technology.
Yeah, they travelled to the US to receive treatment from a specialist in the field who has not only given Maya a very, very cool prosthetic eye, which you're going to see in just a minute, but also changed her life completely. And you're just absolutely buzzing to be in here today. We're delighted to have you both in.
Thank you so much.
We've had good fun this morning, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you noticed some of the crew dance in the ad breaks. Weirdos, right? Yeah, I know, a little bit weird. Thanks so much for coming.
No, thank you for the invite. It's fantastic to be here.
Right, microphthalmia.
Yes.
That's the condition you have in your eye. Tell us about it.
So basically, it's classed as small eye syndrome, so her eye didn't develop properly in my womb. I didn't find out until she was born, but since then she's had to have facial expanders to help her face grow at the same rate. We've had 24 surgeries.
24 surgeries?
Skin grafts, fat grafts, granulomas. We've had infections. We've had failed appointments. Yeah, there's been quite a lot. But obviously, I found the guy in America, and we went out, and it's completely transformed our lives.
But before you found the doctor in America, what was life like? How did Maya, navigate it from a day-to-day basis?
She was
had vision from one eye.
Yeah, so she's been blind since she was born. She wasn't meant to walk until, well, they advised like 18 to 24 months. She smashed it at 8 months.
Do you know what? I'm not surprised. Meeting Maya, I'm just not surprised.
She's clumsy, don't get me wrong, but she can do anything that every other child can, which they told us that she might struggle with. So she smashed all the odds, and she's just absolutely amazing. Everything she applies to, she's out the water with it.
Maya, you walked into a whole room full of adults this morning in makeup, and you're chatting to everyone. I mean, you called me Craig David quite a lot, which, it kind of upset me a little bit, right? But you're great. We're delighted you're here. And you were telling me this morning about what it was like before you got your new eye and what school was like. So tell us what that was like. It was tough, wasn't it?
It was very tough. I got bullied quite a lot. I got called rude names. I got picked on a lot. I got, I wasn't allowed to play with anyone. People wouldn't really let me play with anyone.
Oh.
Well, they were missing out on a wonderful friend.
Lauren,
OK, so that's on them. Look at you now. Wow.
That must have been really hard for you, Lauren.
It really was. It just seeing her, because I think when she was younger, she didn't realise, obviously, the comments and everything that people would make. But when it's at home of how she was feeling, she then stopped going out. She didn't want to go to school. She was going in crying. She was coming home crying. So we arranged some counselling for her, and it was one of the best moves that I've ever done. And we've just kept going and going and going, and now I've got my baby girl back.
Do you know, we meet a lot of brilliant young people who come in and have been through various operations, and coming out of school for all those operations, 24, and it hinders that development.
Yes, it does.
It's not just the physical side of things, all those little things. It makes life tricky, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really was. She's just so upset, and she's the most outgoing, loveliest kid.
Yeah.
But now I've got my little girl back, haven't I? And we're happy, smiling, and like obviously we've been alive for 9 years, but we're now finally living, which is just fantastic.
Sometimes you've got to go through those rough bits to shape you as a person, and you have got some serious sass, Maya. Right?
You do.
Can you tell us about your new eye?
When you when it's not in the light, I think the pupil goes smaller, but when it's in the light, it goes bigger.
Yeah, so it's a trick of the eye. So basically, the pupil will dilate to the eye, which is obviously what we've gone over for, and you can't even tell.
I didn't.
No, you didn't know this morning.
And I was thinking, is that Maya? Because I wouldn't have ever known.
Yeah.
Remember the game you made me play this morning? You made me play Guess the Eye. Yeah, I know, and I really had to guess. That's the thing. A lot of prosthetic eyes, they don't move, they're static, whereas your new eye behaves much like the other one.
It does, yeah. So it's moulded to the fat grafts that have been moved from her tummy into her eye, and it moves with. It's not in sync, but it's movement, and it's fantastic, so...
And he gave you some other eyes as well, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we've asked for a little special one for her.
You've had a few special upgrades, have you? Would you be able to show us one of your eyes at all?
OK.
Now, while Maya shows us, I'm going to ask you some questions about the doctor in America. Now, I know that you were searching and searching, weren't you, for this treatment? How did you find the doctor in America that has designed these brand new eyes?
So, basically, I have scouted every artificial eye examiner in the UK, pretty much. I've got them on Instagram, I've got them on Facebook, I've got them on, obviously, all the reviews, and I've just followed for a few years. Here she is.
That is cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is cool.
Oh, my... And you did it so quickly. That's so cool. Oh, you look like a superhero.
Is that a love heart?
It's a love heart with rainbow. And what else does it do?
It glows in the dark.
It glows in the dark.
Do you know how many 9-year-old boys out there at the moment are going, I love her? Wow.
So this is your TikTok. So you're a dancer. You do dance moves on TikTok.
And the eyes glowing, Jose, look.
Yeah, nothing is stopping you, Maya. No. Nothing at all. And you're good at football as well. Very good at football. And you've got a favourite footballer. Who's your favourite footballer?
Jill Scott.
Wow, OK.
Yeah, we love a bit of Jill Scott.
You had to do a lot of fundraising to pay for this.
Yes,
it's not
I did,
cheap.
yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So basically, we raised the funds. So we had 3 eyes made. We had the bionic one, which is the one with the dilating pupil. We had the fun eye, which is the one she's wearing now. She designed herself. And then we have a backup eye. So basically, this backup eye, for when we go to get the next mould, as she grows, is slightly bigger. So it'll start expanding the socket, ready for the next treatment that we're going to go over and get, and obviously getting over there is not cheap, and staying over, but her first sequence of treatment was 6 solid intense days, whereas now when we go over, we can fly over. We've only got 3 days because the main base is made, and then we just fly back.
Lauren, how much do they cost?
So £4,600 per eye, and then obviously when you've got to get out there and get back, but we've agreed to go every 18 months. And Mummy's going to be working some extra hours and some saving into it so we can get over. And then we're going to try and make a little bit of... That's our holiday whilst we're out there.
Do you know what we should do?
I think we should get you another eye.
I think we should buy you an eye.
No.
Yeah.
We'd like to buy you an eye.
Oh, no, you won't.
Yes, we will.
Because you're going to make me cry.
Oh, no.
Please don't.
Would you like that? You can have anything you want on it. You choose it, OK?
We'll get you another eye.
You made me cry, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no,
wow, you deserve it, because you are such a brilliant young lady, and you've proved all those people who are nasty to you in school how wrong they were.
Yeah.
Are you loving school again?
Yeah, we've moved to schools, and oh my God, she's just flying.
The school is way better.
Is it?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Do you know what? When you come in this morning, I thought, this little lady has got some real magic about her, and you really have.
Do you know what
You've got some serious sass.
I thought, here comes trouble.
That's probably why she called you Craig David.
That's why she called me Craig David.
Maya, would you come back and show us your new eye?
Yeah. Is that OK? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Always
Oh,
good
my
to see you.
gosh. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks, Maya.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great chatting to you.